All right. Well, for those of you who are joining us, my name is Corey Glazier, and I'm going to share a little bit about All In for All Life today. And I've got with me my friend Salish, who's a new friend who's recently been exposed to the All In for All Life message, and he's going to share with us actually how receiving and hearing and comprehending this message has really resulted in real impact in the life of himself and his family. And before I turn the time over to you, Salish, for those of you who aren't familiar, All In for All Life is really it's a worldview, and it's a set of values and priorities and perspectives that help to be able to shape the life we live and the priorities that we have and the decisions we make and the way we choose to be able to really invest our life energy. And in summary, those who are exposed to the All In for All Life message and the experiences that we create and the content that we create really come to acknowledge two fundamental things. One is that we, as a form of life, are completely interconnected to all other forms of life, past, present, and future. The very life that we live and the opportunities and experience we have are the result of millions of generations, of millions of species that have co-created and collaborated to create this very experience of life that we have. And the way that we choose to live our lives will inevitably send ripples out to impact those that are around us today, and also send out ripples that will affect the future generations of life to come. The second main principle of All In for All Life is that in recognizing our connection to this grand fabric of life, we also realize that us as an individual form of life have a finite duration, essentially impermanence, and that there's a time for us to live and there's a time for our time to be over. And in recognizing and understanding the impermanent nature, as opposed to trying to be able to live within a story of eternity, then we can be able to really find within us the passion to be able to live ferociously and incredibly and in love and in contribution in a way that helps to serve us and those around us and those to come. Salish, you've recently been exposed to this concept, this ethos, this message, and you've been telling me how it's really sunk deep into your heart. And I would love to hear from you how you see that it's impacted your consciousness, your life, your lifestyle, your relationships, and the experience that you're having overall.
Yeah, thank you, Corey. I wasn't expecting such a simple idea that death was all around me. When you said, yeah, death is all around. Like, this morning is born, and then it dies, and then an afternoon is born, and then an afternoon dies, and then an evening is born. And so I started to get very conscious of death all around me, and inside of that consciousness, I was living like I'd never lived before. I was so present to every single thing in such a way that I knew that it was going to die. And so there was just a certain way of treasuring that particular moment or whatever I was doing, and it affected what I said, what came out of my mouth. It affected how much I was willing to allow myself to really open my heart and really allow the full love that's in my soul to actually come out. It wasn't like, okay, I'll wait for some other time, because it was like, this moment will die, so give it all you got. And it was almost like it got installed as an operating system inside of me, and then it was just, that was the background, that was what was running, and everything suddenly started to work with that OS. Mm-hmm. And very, very interesting things, from how authentic conversations were happening at work to when I got home. I mean, I just had an amazing conversation with my wife this evening, and it was like, there was nothing to hold back. There's nothing to collect, and there's nothing to hold back. I was talking to my brother-in-law this morning, and I was telling him, I said, isn't it amazing? Last night we were in a event, and I said, if you hadn't come, last night is dead. Now a new day is born, and each moment, like the presence of knowing that, even like right now, I'm talking to you, Corey, over this Google Hangout, and then it's gone, it's dead. Then I'm off to something else, And just the presence of that allows me to say, gosh, what can I give in this very instant so that it is fully me, that I'm just giving my all to this moment. I've heard the theory of, be in the now, the power of now. The theory of it is one thing, but really experiencing it and expressing it and living it like moment to moment is just like, whoa. Just, it's beautiful, just beautiful. I mean, and it's very simple. It's not a very complicated thing.
Oh.
And once you get it, you just get it, and it's in your OS, and you just start doing it that way, and you're like, wow, it's like I've got new eyes, new ears, and life is the same, but it occurs completely different. And
Fantastic, Salish. Thank you so much for just helping me to feel how you're feeling and how it's affected you. If you use the word feeling tone, like basically like the nature of feeling that you had prior to being exposed to this compared to how you feel right now, how would you kind of compare the feeling of being alive?
I'd kind of been on this journey quite a bit, and I put down as something really important to me was to be really present. Like I said, these were the three most important things to me, which is God, being fully present in the moment, and surrender. But I didn't quite, it was like, they were like there, but after I got this idea that death is happening all around me, I was able to, the feeling was just the preciousness, the awareness of the preciousness of that particular moment of creation and death. Like it was like I was just present to the cycle of it, and it just made me. I'm just like the feeling was just alive, like just alive, like molecules vibrating alive, like in each moment. And it didn't matter what it was. Even if I'm dealing with something challenging, I'm fully alive in the challenge. And so there was less judgment going on. There's less, certainly no, there's peace up here, which is amazing. Just a certain kind of peace.
So I'm hearing an aliveness and a peace and a joy in the way that you're experiencing every moment, which I think is the pursuit of so many that are striving to be able to feel like they can get more out of life and feel more connected to self and feel more connected to the moment and feel more present.
Yeah.
Now, a follow-up question I have for you is, with this newfound awareness and presence and appreciation of the uniqueness of every moment, how does that affect your desire to be able to give your gifts and make contribution and share your talents and skills and passions with the world?
Oh, you know what? That's a really great question, and I did notice a huge shift in that. It was like almost like it came out of hiding. It was like almost like a person just says, I'm here. You can see me. I'm right here. And I didn't realize how much I had been kind of hiding. And it did jolt me out of just, like, it was kind of like waking you up out of a slumber that I didn't even know that I had. But yeah, I was free. I felt completely open and free to share what was true for me in that moment. If I needed to say something to someone, I was going to say it. If there was something to be heard, I was going to be fully present to hear it. And but yeah, I feel like, for me, I really do believe that, I get to be a catalyst for a tipping point in human consciousness. I think I really started to own that and started like, wow, if I'm going to do that, then get on with it.
Hell yeah.
Be part of it and own it. And part of it was really owning it myself and being able to be present to the gift that is to the world and to myself, and to be a model for it. And it wasn't so heavy either. Just that's what's this moment. Hey, this moment has come. It's time for us to be able to have a world where, the default is that people are just loving life. They're alive. They're fully present. They're there. There's so much disconnection right now that I see, and the opportunity of this is also just as powerful. And I see it's tipping.
I couldn't agree with you more. I feel like there's this consciousness is right on the cusp of making a huge evolution into kind of higher levels of being, and each of us have an opportunity to choose how we want to play and participate in that evolution.
That's right.
Two last questions for you, Salish. What would you say to somebody who is considering maybe learning more about the All In for All Life ethos, or maybe considering participating in an event to be able to learn more about being all in for all life? What advice would you give to them?
I think just take a moment to just look around you and see if you can notice at least 10 things that just died in the last hour, and be present to how much power it would be to be present to that all the time, so that you were really living fully. And I think it's just it's a gift to give yourself. It's a gift to give
yourself.
You're already in this life. You might have, it's like you've already entered Disneyland. You might as well go on all the rides with me.
Salish, are you all in for all life?
I'm all in for all life, man. And it's just a beautiful, I mean, we all are all in for all life. We just not necessarily are aware of it.
Absolutely. How do you think that the world would benefit from more people being aware of the fact that they already are all in for all life and really owning that?
Oh my gosh, I think there would be a tremendous upliftment of the spirit, the human spirit in each person. We would, everywhere we interact, we're going to be uplifting each human being. I mean, I don't think you can be in the space and not inspire those around you. So if you're just surrounded with that, it's just like you would have a momentum, and it would create its own energy that just expands and expands and expands in a very powerful way. So I think people would be more loving, more compassionate with each other. People would be honest and authentic with each other, just naturally,
And people would be giving their gifts even more powerfully and more dynamically.
Would be, yeah, they're not going to hold it back. You're not holding your golden shadow in your pocket. You're taking it out and you're saying, look, world, here I have something to offer, and world, I have something to offer, and you'd be willing to not only offer it, you'd be willing to receive it from everyone else around you. You're also not resisting all this great gifts, and you're also willing to give your gifts, and it's not a quid pro quo transaction. It's not a business transaction. It's coming from such a enormous reservoir of infinite beauty and grace that's available to us all, and we're already tapped into that source. We don't have to go plug ourselves in every day to go get the new charge for how many breaths I'm going to get today. We're plugged into that infinite source, so it's just allowing ourselves to be free to receive it, just gracefully.
Let's receive all there is to receive. Let's give all that we can possibly give.
Yeah.
Salish, thank you so much for joining us All In for All Life video. And for those of you who have watched, thank you so much for joining with us. And Salish, I hope you have a fantastic day.
You too. Take care, my friend. All right. Cheers.
All right, cheers. Much love.
All life. Bye-bye.
All In for All Life. Bam.